you see in your mind's eye when I say Jacobite country? I bet you never think of this place. And yet, during the Jacobite uprisings, Montrose gained a reputation as one of the most rebellious towns. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. And if you enjoyed this video, then like it, share it, and watch the next one. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. I bet when I asked you what was the most Jacobite town, you never thought of Montrose and Angus. But in the next few minutes, I hope to explain why you should. Now, you might not believe it, but Montrose earned a reputation as one of the most rebellious towns in the Jacobite period. The people who walked these streets were hugely sympathetic to the exiled House of Stuart. So why would that be? Lots of folk in Montrose and wider Angus were non-juring Episcopalians. What does that mean? It meant that when 1688 ushered in William of Orange, the Glorious Revolution, the Presbyterian Ascendancy and the official songbook for Rangers Football Club, folks in this area still believed in the episcopal system, bishops, ritual and prayer books. Like the Church of England with a kilt on. It meant that many of the priests and ordinary folks around here refused to give allegiance first to King Billy and then to German Geordie who followed him. Half the local worshippers in Montrose refused to pledge allegiance to the Hanoverian George I. 1707 made things worse. The union with England brought new taxation, and for a port like Montrose, smuggling. So irrespective of religious affiliation, the local economy and the ordinary man in the street was employed in, or benefited from, and certainly supported the smuggling trade that pervaded the town. Merchants, seafarers, and all the industries that fed from them thrived by resisting the Hanoverian government. So when uprisings came, Montrose's population, from gentry to town councillors to tradesmen and servants, all shared three things in common: smuggling activities, Episcopalian beliefs, and Jacobite sympathies. Now, this wasn't just Montrose. Arbroath down the coast was also a Jacobite town, but there was one thing that Montrose had that Arbroath didn't: a deep water port that could still be used at low tide. In addition to Jacobite sympathies, it was the accessibility of this port during high and low tide that made it key location for some events both in the 1715 and the 1745 Jacobite uprisings. It was a secure port to bring in money, arms and men, and to take out key players and messages. When the Earl of Mar raised the Jacobite standard in September 1715, it was just through the Angus glens in Braemar. Montrose and the surrounding Angus region quickly fell in with a rebellion. One local noble, the 4th Earl of Panmure, who had been a privy councillor to James VII, proclaimed his son as King James VIII at Brechin Merket Cross. Some men from Montrose answered the call to arms under Panmure. Others continued their support more passively, facilitating movements through the strategic Jacobite port. James Francis Edward Stuart finally arrived in Scotland after the Battle of Sheriffmuir and the Siege of Preston, too late to turn the tide of an uprising that was effectively ended. By early 1716, the government army was advancing into Angus. When government troops seized Arbroath, Jacobite leaders fell back towards Montrose. This was a friendly port and an escape by sea. By February 1716, it was the final sanctuary of the Jacobite High Command. James Stewart and his top commanders converged in the harbour here. On the 4th of February 1716, James Stewart boarded a French ship anchored out in Montrose Bay and sailed back to France, never to return. Other key Jacobite supporters like William Keith, 10th Earl Marshal, his brother James, and the Earl of Mar, who had led the rising, also slipped away by ship here. The people of Montrose and Angus who didn't flee paid a price for supporting the Jacobite cause. Local lore tells of a Lord James McClarton who had a premonition of a phantom black dog following him before being captured by government forces and hanged in Arbroath with his body thrown on a dunghill. The Earl of Panmure, the Earl, Marshal and other gentry had their estates forfeited to the Crown. The Keith family lost Dunnottar Castle and it fell into disrepair. Government troops vandalised the properties of other known Jacobites. Episcopal clergy and locals were forced to take public oaths of allegiance to the king. Many who refused were expelled from churches and arrested. Episcopalians had to worship behind closed doors and in hiding, just like Covenanters had done before. Did that suppress Jacobite sentiment in Montrose? Before we go on to talk about Bonnie Prince Charlie's uprising, I should mention that I'm coming back to Montrose on the 28th of February to do my live comedy show Scotland Made the World in the George Hotel. If you don't have a ticket, then why not? I'll also be taking the show to other Scottish towns and all across Canada in 2026. So, if you fancy a bit of Scottish history with a laugh along the way, why not click the link top right or in the description below for dates and tickets, or go to www.brucefummey.co.uk. 30 years after the Earl of Mar's uprising, Montrose would once again live up to its reputation as that most rebellious Jacobite town, with the arrival of Bonnie Prince Charlie. We're told by one person that Montrose was a place where some of the men of the highest wisdom in Scotland backed the Prince's cause. In August 1745, as the Jacobite standard rose in the Highlands, David Lord Ogilvie, the young son of the Earl of Airlie, called the men of Angus to arms. The response came. From the glens around Kirriemuir down to the coast here at Montrose, hundreds of volunteers rallied to Ogilvie's banner, until his Forfarshire regiment numbered just under 1,000 men. Ordinary folk from Montrose, Brechin, Arbroath and the farms of the Angus countryside. And Montrose recruits mustered here on the broad sands of today's Montrose links. The coastline would have seen a military camp stretched all along its edge, the sound of drills and war cries carrying in the sea breeze as local journeymen, weavers, ploughmen and tradesmen wore the white cockade of the Stuarts. Montrose was also an indispensable logistical hub. Once again, the town's harbour played its role. By late 1745, French ships were coming in and out of Montrose harbour delivering supplies, weapons and even troops to help bolster the Jacobite war effort. In November 1745, the French ship Mars arrived off Montrose, delivering the Écossais Royal, a regiment of the French army made up of Scottish exiles. 800 French and Irish regulars also came ashore at Montrose. They brought muskets, gunpowder, artillery pieces and chests of French gold. During the 45, Montrose was the main port of ingress for supplies and reinforcements from France. This was Charlie's town. In a letter of 11th of January 1746, the Duke of Cumberland looked at the feasibility of landing a task force at Montrose to sever the Jacobite lifeline, calling it one of the speediest ways of destroying them. By early February 1746, the Jacobites' failed campaign in England ended in a fighting retreat back north. After a month at Bannockburn House, where we made a really interesting Jacobite video recently, you should watch it, Prince Charles was reluctantly convinced to give up the lowlands. At a war council in Crieff on the 2nd of February, he agreed to pull his forces north to the Highlands for one last stand. That's when they had to abandon Montrose. But not before they used it one more time. Before they left, on the 3rd to the 4th of February, a French ship carried away several important Jacobites, including French envoys and Scottish officers, evacuating them to safety. On February the 8th, 1746, Montrose was finally abandoned by the Jacobite garrison. When the Duke of Cumberland arrived in the town later that month, local townsfolk lit bonfires to honour Prince Charles's birthday. And bold Jacobite ladies marched through Montrose's streets, adorned with white roses of the House of Stuart. As surely as a Highland glen, this port was populated by supporters of the Jacobite cause. From councillors who ran the town to ordinary citizens who took up arms for Charlie, like William Jameson, reedmaker, who enlisted in Lord Ogilvy's regiment. William Baird, the gardener turned Jacobite soldier who was captured by government forces having fought at Falkirk and Culloden. Andrew Beattie, the rope maker imprisoned after Culloden who made a daring escape. The brewer, William Cargill, and the servant David Gowk, both of whom were punished by transportation. And John Lowe and Alexander Smith, two young wig makers. Not a hair in their head was harmed, because they turned King's evidence and grassed up other folks in the town. Once the British troops retook control, they set up a permanent military camp here to quell remaining Jacobite activity. The British Army would occupy Montrose for a decade, long after Culloden. But even military occupation didn't completely extinguish Montrose's defiant spirit. Pro-Jacobite sentiment lingered for years after Culloden. 2 years after that fateful battle, on the 24th of February 1748, a group of Montrose folk took to the streets wearing the white cockade in their hats, celebrating as if the Prince's cause was still alive. They cheered and made merry and toasting in a seditious mini riot of Jacobite diehards. The authorities recorded it as a disturbance of the peace. If the Highlands were the heart of the Jacobite uprisings, then ports of Montrose, and to a lesser extent Arbroath, were the arteries through which the blood of weapons and money pumped. But Montrose wasn't just a Jacobite sympathising port that provided passage for supplies. It gave up its sons to fight for the Stuarts. If you think there's a more Jacobite town than this, let me know in the comments. I've got another Jacobite story, and it's a belter. The link for that's coming up on screen now. If you enjoyed this video, then like it, share it, and watch the next one. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member, or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, I'm Montrose, Cherry and Drast.